You have never made a fully free financial decision. Every environment where money changes hands was designed, using behavioral science, neuroscience, and years of data, to influence exactly when and how much you spend. In 2022, U.S. companies spent $467 billion on advertising. That number does not include store design, pricing psychology, or digital UX testing, just advertising. $467 billion studying the architecture of your spending decisions. And no one spent a single dollar teaching you to recognize what was being done. Today, I am going to show you 5 specific psychological mechanisms that companies have identified, studied, and built their entire sales infrastructure around. Not vague advice about impulse buying, the exact cognitive processes that override your financial intentions every time you walk into a store, open an app, or see a price. Welcome to Wired to Broke. Before I name the mechanisms, let me show you how spending became a science. Because understanding the history changes how you feel about everything that follows. In the 1950s, a researcher named James Vicary claimed he had flashed the words, "Eat popcorn," and "drink Coca-Cola" on a cinema screen for 0.003 of a second, below the threshold of conscious perception. He claimed popcorn sales rose 58%. The study was later debunked. Vicary admitted he fabricated the data. But the fear it created, that corporations could manipulate spending without your awareness, turned out to be completely legitimate. The technique was just far more sophisticated than subliminal flashing. Today, the field is called consumer neuroscience. Companies like Nielsen, P&G, and major retailers use EEG headsets and eye-tracking technology to measure brain activity in real shoppers as they navigate stores and process prices. They know which shelf position makes you reach, which font on a price tag feels trustworthy, which color makes you feel like you're getting a deal even when you're not. This is not marketing intuition. This is laboratory science applied to extracting money from you. And the gap between what they know about your brain and what you know about your brain is the most expensive knowledge gap in your financial life. There is a fundamental asymmetry at work. The store has studied you. The app has modeled you. The pricing team has run experiments on thousands of people to find the exact moment your resistance fails. You walked in knowing none of this. And the result, every time, is that you spend more than you planned. Not because you are bad with money, because you are a human being navigating an environment that was optimized systematically and scientifically to make you spend. 5 mechanisms. Each discovered through decades of research, each quietly embedded in every commercial environment you enter, and each one, once you see it, impossible to unsee. Let us begin. Mechanism 1. Mental accounting. In 1985, an economist named Richard Thaler, who would go on to win the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences, published a paper that overturned a foundational assumption of economics. Classical economics assumed that money is fungible. A dollar is a dollar, regardless of where it came from. $10 from your salary and $10 from a tax refund should feel identical. Should buy identical things. Should be treated with identical care. Thaler proved this is not how human beings work. He found that people divide their money into separate psychological buckets, mental accounts for different kinds of money, and treat those buckets completely differently, even when the dollar amounts are the same. Tax refund money is found money. People spend it on things they would never buy with their salary. Vacation upgrades, luxury purchases, long-denied indulgences. Even though a tax refund is simply income you already earned that the government temporarily held. Casino winnings are house money. Gamblers who are up $50 bet in ways they would never bet with their own $50, because that money doesn't really count, even though it is now fully, legally theirs. A gift card feels different than cash. Money from selling an old item feels different than money from working. And money saved by buying something on sale gets mentally moved into a separate savings bucket, even when the net effect was spending more than you planned to. Retailers exploit this constantly. Rebates, cashback rewards, gift with purchase promotions, all designed to create a mental account separate from your regular spending perception so that the money feels different and your normal spending thresholds don't apply to it. The countermeasure is simple and uncomfortable. A dollar is a dollar, regardless of where it came from. The tax refund is your money. The cashback reward is your money. The casino winnings are your money. Treat every dollar with the same scrutiny you give your paycheck, because every dollar is your paycheck, just arriving differently. Mechanism 2. The pain of paying. In 2001, Drazen Prelec and Duncan Semester at MIT conducted an experiment that should be required reading for anyone who owns a credit card. They auctioned tickets to sold-out sporting events. One group paid with cash only. The other paid with credit card only. The credit card bidders paid, on average, twice as much for the same tickets. Not 10% more. Not a small premium. 2 times the price for an identical item in an identical auction. The reason, Prelec explained, is that spending money is neurologically painful. Brain imaging shows that parting with cash activates the insula, the same region associated with physical pain. Credit cards reduce that activation. They create psychological distance between the moment of spending and the reality of the money leaving. Every innovation in payment technology has been, functionally, an innovation in pain reduction. Credit cards over cash. Tap to pay over chip and PIN. Digital wallets over tap to pay. Monthly subscriptions over single annual payments. Buy, now pay. Later over credit cards. Each step removes another layer of friction. Each layer of friction removed produces a measurable increase in spending. BNPL users spend 30 to 40% more per transaction than users paying with cash or traditional credit. Amazon Go stores, where you simply walk out and are billed automatically, represent the logical endpoint of this trajectory, a retail environment where the act of paying has been made completely invisible. Zero pain, zero friction, maximum spending. The countermeasure: deliberately reintroduce friction, use cash for discretionary spending, even occasionally. The physical act of counting and handing over bills reactivates the neurological pain response that your brain uses to regulate what you spend. That discomfort is not a flaw. It is a financial immune system, and modern commerce has spent decades removing it. Mechanism 3. Hyperbolic discounting. Here is a question. 2 options. $100 today or $110 1 week from now. Which do you take? Most people take the $100 now. The extra $10 is not worth waiting a week. Now the same question with a time shift. $100 in 30 days or $110 in 31 days. Same 1-day difference. Same $10 premium. Which do you take? Almost everyone waits for the 110. Obviously worth it. Same decision, same delay. Completely reversed choice. This is hyperbolic discounting. Human beings do not value time linearly. We apply a massive psychological premium to the present moment, but that premium collapses almost immediately as soon as the decision moves away from right now. The financial consequences are severe. Every purchase made on credit is a person choosing $100 today over $110 next month. Every 0% APR for 12 months offer is a company counting on you to be a different person 12 months from now. Every subscription you signed up for planning to cancel later is a present self making a promise that a future self will not keep. Payday loans charge 300 to 400% annual interest. The people who use them are not irrational. They are experiencing a specific cognitive bias, the present being worth infinitely more than the future, and a specific industry was built to profit from exactly that bias. Buy now, pay later operates on the same mechanism. The purchase feels free today. The payment exists in the future. And to the present moment brain, the future barely exists at all. The countermeasure is pre-commitment. You cannot win a negotiation against your own present bias in the moment. The only solution is to make financial decisions in advance when your future self has equal standing in the room, and use automation to enforce those decisions before your present self gets a vote. Mechanism 4. The Diderot Effect. In 1769, the French philosopher Denis Diderot received an unexpected gift, a beautiful scarlet dressing gown. The robe was extraordinary. Standing in his study wearing it, Diderot noticed something he had never noticed before. Everything else in his study looked shabby. His old straw chair, which had served him well for years, now seemed unworthy of the man in the scarlet robe. So he replaced it. But the new chair made his desk look dingy. New desk. Which made the rug look worn. New rug. New paintings, new bookshelves. By the time the cascade stopped, Diderot was in debt. He had purchased an entirely new study to match a robe he had not asked for and had not paid for. He wrote about the experience in an essay called Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown, and in doing so gave a name to one of the most expensive patterns in consumer psychology, the Diderot Effect. A single purchase, especially a good one, creates a new standard that makes everything adjacent to it look inadequate. The attempt to restore visual and psychological coherence triggers a cascade of additional purchases that was never part of the original plan. You buy a new couch. The rug looks wrong. New rug makes the coffee table look dated. New table makes the curtains clash. You entered for one item. You left having redesigned a room. You upgrade your phone. The old case looks cheap. New case. The cable seems slow. New charger. The desk looks cluttered. New organizer. One product triggered an ecosystem of purchases. Every complete the look recommendation, every frequently bought together suggestion, every lifestyle image showing a product surrounded by an aspirational environment is deliberately triggering the Diderot effect. You are not being shown a product. You are being shown a standard that your current life does not yet meet. The countermeasure, isolated purchasing. Buy the thing. Stop. Give it 30 days before buying anything it needs. The psychological coherence urge fades. The cascade never starts. Mechanism 5. Transaction utility. Richard Thaler, the same economist who identified mental accounting, discovered a second, separate form of value that human beings extract from purchases. The first is acquisition utility, the actual value of having the thing, how useful it is, how much you wanted it, the product's rational value. The second is transaction utility, the psychological value of the deal itself, the reward of feeling like you got a good price. And transaction utility is a completely independent force. You can get enormous transaction utility from something that gives you zero acquisition utility. A product you don't need at 60% off will produce a stronger buying impulse than a product you genuinely need at full price. Not because the discount made it more useful, because the deal itself is neurologically rewarding. Black Friday is not an event for buying things you need. It is an event for experiencing transaction utility at scale. The purchase is almost secondary. What you are actually buying is the feeling of having won, of having beaten the regular price, of being smart enough to act before everyone else. Flash sales, lightning deals, members-only pricing, clearance racks, today-only offers. Every mechanism designed to make you feel special is engineering transaction utility, the sensation of the deal, entirely independently of whether you wanted the product. The countermeasure is a single question you ask before every discounted purchase. Would I buy this at full price? If the answer is no, you do not want the product. You want the transaction utility. You are buying a feeling, and that feeling costs you considerably more than your bank account will tell you. 5 mechanisms. Mental accounting, the pain of paying, and its systematic elimination. Hyperbolic discounting, the Diderot effect, transaction utility. None of these are design flaws in the commercial environment. They are design features. Retail spaces, pricing teams, and digital platforms have spent decades and hundreds of billions of dollars studying exactly how each one functions, and building environments that activate all five simultaneously. When you feel the excitement of a discount, that is transaction utility. When you buy something on credit and feel almost nothing, that is the pain of paying, removed. When you plan to cancel next month and never do, that is hyperbolic discounting. When one new purchase makes everything around it look worse, that is the Diderot Effect. When a refund or bonus feels like free money, that is mental accounting. All five, running simultaneously in every commercial environment you enter. The only protection is recognition. You cannot unsee a mechanism once you have named it. And the moment you name it, in a store, in an app, in a sale notification, the mechanism loses most of its power. Subscribe to Wired to Broke. Every week, one idea that changes how you think and how you live. See you in the next one.